All right, it's the final episode of the first week. Get ready, guys. This is an extra strength, extra beefy long episode. It's an hour, 20 minutes. We got Batiste coming back. We got Robbie coming back. Danny has left because he busted the last hand. Batiste just won a huge hand.
Yeah, that ace-queen hand for Danny. Robert Brewer had the king-queen, and Batiste, of course, flopped the set. But here we are now, HR with the king-jack of diamonds, and Joseph feeling the new brand of poker, I guess, and three-betting right here.
Yeah, he is.
By new brand, I just mean normal brand.
Yeah, it's the normal brand of poker.
Or five-handed, you got ace-queen. It's totally reasonable. Three-bet, of course.
Yeah, five-handed does change the ranges a little bit versus six-handed. It should, at least.
I don't know how often Joseph is normally three-betting ace-queen, but this is, of course, completely reasonable and maybe almost mandatory.
So far, these guys are both playing great.
This is a pretty easy spot for Joseph. And probably HR, too, unless he wants to take one off with all
the queen of diamonds is the key card for HR's hand. He could decide to use that, but it's more standard just to fold.
He's also out of position. You know, I like the fold. If he's in position, I like a call, I think, much more of the time.
Right. You can float. You can improve in a lot of ways on the turn. Joseph
slams that flop and takes it down. But yeah, you can even see in this shot right here, Batiste, all those green chips are jutting out into the shot.
I'm curious to see if Batiste starts pushing the action even more. He is an aggressive player. He just more than doubled up. Batiste, a very accomplished player, as we've mentioned before. He won a World Series of Poker circuit main event for over $200,000.
Yep. And of course, here's Robert Brewer, who lost that huge pot to Batiste. He's a World Series of Poker final table-ist.
Yes.
I don't know if that's a word,
Table-ist.
but it is now.
It's a new word.
Hey, it's queens.
And Brewer open on the button. HR just with a call, it looks like. From a metagame perspective, I really like this as a protecting my big blind calling range thing.
I agree from that perspective. From a cash game perspective, I kind of prefer a 3-bet.
Just because let's get some money in.
Yeah.
Brewer's got a lot of calls in his range.
He's going to call almost always.
Yeah. It's a bad flop for HR, obviously.
Yeah. Got to call it once at least, though. Totally reasonable to call here.
He snap called.
He also had the queen of hearts. Checks it again quickly. Interesting spot here for Brewer.
Looks like he's betting. He probably puts HR on a lot of flush draws here.
Yeah, and also he can sort of set his price now and not have to bet the river.
HR quickly calls. The way HR is calling feels like a middle pair or a flush draw.
I mean, he could have a reasonable ace.
I assume this is just going to go check, check.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brewer bet the turn so he can check back the river pretty easily. Yeah, and that's what he's going to do. So he gets to charge the flush draw this way and not have to face a really big bet on the river very often.
HR probably loses about the same amount in that hand if he 3-bets. Probably only one post-flop bet goes in if that happens.
Yeah, he probably check calls once or bets himself and sees that it gets called and shuts down most of the time. Let's see, he's have to put Brewer on hearts exactly and decide not to fold.
Right, and he blocks one of the main hearts Brewer could have.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Little Jakey's still on the coffee. I'm on keto, man. I can't even have beer.
All right, let's see how wide Batiste is.
Oh, come on.
This is a good test.
This is not going to happen.
Martial arts? I'm just kidding.
This is, of course, Jake Dahl on the button here with the Queen 10. He's going to play this. Jake recently finished second in a World Series of Poker main event. Not main event.
No, not the main event. You would know about that, probably.
Yeah. World Series of Poker event.
To Robert Mizraki.
Yep.
The man with the most stuff in his hair of anybody.
You got to lead the league in something, you know?
Yeah.
By the way, it's not stuff. It's product.
Product. He's got a lot of product in his hair.
He's going to really clean up that joke
pomade.
a little bit.
Is it pomade?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's one of them.
He looks like a pomade guy.
This feed, well, he's going to say, who was that? Alan Sipe.
Oh.
He goes, grab it by it.
Brewer not going to open this under the gun. Batiste might. Now,
This summer,
an episode when we were talking about Brewer's aggression, he is an aggressive player, but more selectively aggressive than a guy like Batiste, who's just going to try to run over the table all the time, every time.
Pretty much.
HR, another big hand.
Yeah, this is a super premium in this game, especially with Batiste in the big blind.
You don't say the P, Jonathan.
I did
Silent
that time.
P.
I mean, I did. Here's Joseph thinking about 3-bet or call. I assume there's no fold in him here.
I wouldn't fold.
Neither. I think a 3-bet is pretty reasonable, I got to tell you.
I agree.
But he decides to call, and that's fine, too. Batiste.
Disgusted by having to fold the queen 5 off there.
You thought for sure I was getting in there. I had a real piece of shit.
Okay.
Well, somebody flopped a good hand.
I don't think he's going to get any money. Maybe if it comes heart, he can get a little bit.
Don't hate this check, although I actually wouldn't have minded a bet either.
Well,
Now it's
kind of
bad.
sucks to have the ace right now. You block Joseph having an ace.
There's still 2 aces left. I think you're supposed to bet the turn. Actually, you're probably supposed to bet the flop and the turn. Trying to get called by a small pocket pair on the
Well,
flop.
the HR didn't bet the river.
Wait, what?
He checked the river.
You are not allowed to do that. That's cheating.
I guess he knew he was never getting called. But
That
what
is-
if Joseph has an 8?
Why wouldn't you give yourself a shot to get called?
Joseph could have an 8 and decide to call.
Why would you let Joseph off the hook? There's no reason to.
Joseph could play an ace like that.
Joseph could get, curious with 2 6s. I don't know.
You got to bet the river, HR.
You could bet $5 on the river, but why would you bet nothing on the river? That is just someone who's not interested in money, I guess. If you're there for other reasons.
Sure. I guess the floor is not over here penalizing HR at the moment, although
No.
that is the rule.
I actually don't think these guys are colluding or anything close to it, but that was unusual, at least.
Now he's going to make up for the missed value by limping the 10-8 off.
And Joseph's going to punish him with 2 cards.
We don't know what Joseph has.
He's got position. I know he's got that. And a striped shirt.
Looks like we're going to be sweating with HR here.
Cool.
He's going to fold.
No sweat of any kind.
Nope. Joseph, I'm going to guess he had ace, jack, clubs, and spades. Seems like the most obvious.
Oh, I think it's pretty clear that's not right. It's the jack of clubs for sure, but it's the ace of hearts.
Oh, yeah, the red.
Did you see?
Yeah,
Did
no,
you
I
see
saw
how
the way he
chips
put the chips in.
so clearly the ace of hearts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, people always give Negreanu so much props for calling people's hands, but he often doesn't call the suits, and so I'm not as impressed.
Obviously.
I mean, someone's gonna hear that and think we're sincere.
Well, not now that you said
No,
that.
they're still gonna think so.
Now we
HR.
don't know HR's hand. All right.
It's fun. It's a fun way to do it. I guess they're not.
This is unorthodox.
They're not always putting their cards where they're supposed to, and that's fine. We'll talk to him about it at some point. But Joseph, we can see his hand, and he looks like he's going for a 3-bet here.
Oh, no, he just calls. I don't know if I like that.
No, I don't know what's going on with that either.
A 3-bet would have been good. I would have preferred that.
Yeah.
Brewer with a reasonable call. He's already put $5 in.
Jake's been tight all game. He's certainly never calling with that piece of cheese.
Piece of cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old school. That's me.
There's an interesting thing about a 5-5 game where the small and big blind are the same.
Yeah.
The small blind has more license to call in spots like this with a hand like King 10 off.
Not very good. Well, I mean, very good.
Well, HR is going to c-bet. I don't think we're going to find out what he has, though, because I don't see anything happening unless Joseph makes a move here.
Yeah, and I expect Brewer just to fold as well. There we go.
I can fold too. I wanted to fold to you.
Look at that. That's
It tells you a lot about the state of the game.
yeah, that tells you a lot.
You got Batiste at 40% and everyone else between 22 and 17. Everyone else opening about the same amount of hands. Batiste double.
I mean, 40% is not absurd in a 6-max game.
It's not.
Capable. That's not crazy.
But it does say something about where he thinks he is. By the way, we're 5-handed now, too.
Yeah, it's 5-handed.
Only just now. We just
Although,
started at
yeah,
5-handed.
that was all that data is from when we were 6-max
Yeah,
because Batiste busted Danny.
he sure did.
He was down before that, but now he's got all the chips.
Yeah, he was down $1,000 very quickly, but now he's up. Expect this to go check, check. It does.
This is where you find out who the better player is. I'm just kidding. It doesn't mean anything.
This is probably going to end quickly.
Yeah, I
See
imagine
the
HR.
sizing here.
This is great.
HR bets more than the pot.
He's been doing a lot of that today, especially on the flop.
I mean, Jake certainly isn't going to take one off when he does that, right? If it was $5, Jake might have called once with the backdoor and overs.
I don't think Jake would have.
Because it's Jake.
Yeah,
I think Brewer and Batiste would have.
possibly. Brewer might be a little beaten down right now.
I would have called $5, I'll tell you what.
If you don't remember, Brewer lost a massive pot.
Yeah.
Massive with King Queen on a King High flop where Batiste flop bottom set when Danny ended up all in pre-flop. It was huge.
Yeah, there was already $1,000 in the pot pre. That was, of course, the last hand to end our second episode. This
Yeah,
is
check out episode
3.
2 if you want to see that and a lot of other action that's already happened.
Jake. What's the little raise there?
Looks like 15 or is it 20?
Looks like 15 to me. We'll find out in a second. It
It is 15. He was raising 20 earlier in the session. Maybe he's trying to induce some action here. He's got a pretty good hand.
Seems odd to me. It's not that good.
I'm trying to think of a reason.
Yeah. So
Looks like HR has...
HR is called
Called.
already. Okay.
Yeah.
We just can't see his chips. And then Joseph puts in the surprising 3-bet here with the blocker, the old ace blocker play.
I like it. And you know what? Maybe he's reading into Jake's sizing.
Yeah.
Because he's seen Jake open to 20 before.
And look,
Jake's gonna fold. I think that's a calling hand in that spot.
I agree.
I gotta imagine Jake would have called if it was suited.
I'm sure he would have. I mean, maybe he's really aware that Joseph really hasn't been 3-betting much at all. He 3-bet the ace-queen about 10 hands ago, but I don't know besides that in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, he's had a couple times where it looks like he's gonna 3-bet with a pretty bad hand, and then he ends up calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe Jake is just thinking, I've got a hand that is often dominated by his value, and I just don't have to do this right now. I only have $15 in.
I guess. I do wonder if the sizing played into Joseph's decision to do that.
I think Jake's just going to fold this hand.
I think so.
Yeah.
Robert there was lamenting Batiste getting the near triple up from the end of the last episode because, of course, it came mostly at Robert's expense. And Batiste does not have a folding range when Robert opens under the gun, I don't think.
They didn't want to insult you.
I mean, if it is, it's pretty small, the folding range.
Well, this could get weird.
See if Brewer decides to c-bet or okay, he does. I expect at least one call from Batiste here.
I do too. Brewer's lucky that this is the piece Batiste has, obviously. This is mostly a protection bet, right?
Yeah, it's just got to be a please go away bet. And okay, now I'm shutting down bet. Also, I mean, he gets a free river basically if he wants it. But yeah, 6s don't like that card, but didn't like the flop anyway.
The 7 shouldn't be in Batiste's hand very often.
No, pretty much never. But unless he has 2 7s, which we were already losing to.
Check
as
back
Brewer.
here from Brewer. Got a deuce on the river.
Kind of expected to go check most of the time here.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Batiste, there wouldn't seem to be a lot of value in betting here.
He's going for it.
Really? He's trying to get called by ace high and he's repping queen 10?
That's exactly what he's doing. That has to be it, right?
Yeah.
It's a small bet, so it's not necessarily a bluff.
And now Brewer can really only beat the queen 10s of the world, right?
I would put him on a jack if I were Brewer. I think I'd put him on jack 10 at this point.
He could have a king just as easily.
He could.
Oh, it's such a small bet.
The sizing, I think we've seen Batiste have some pretty transparent sizing so far.
Yeah, but that may just be... And look at that.
Wow.
He ends up folding out the better hand by accident.
Depends on what you think the value bet. I was getting called by ace high there. I betted than ace high. Whoa. I wasn't sure. I was debating which card you were
Is that a
betting.
deuce?
I betted than a deuce. I could beat a 5. I
He
was
had the best hand.
Brewer just got the bad news.
At 8-5 off.
It's gotta be tilting.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Sort of hoping that's not. I thought that was in the range, but maybe I'm glad I didn't get the Robbie Hero call there.
there's just so many jacks.
It's true. I mean, it's a lot of different things.
HR starts a limping parade.
Yeah.
And we are probably going to have a family, well, not a family pot, but a near family pot here. Someone's going to flop something great. That's my prediction.
No.
You did? Yeah.
Wait, was I right?
I mean, Batiste flopped a straight draw.
I was mostly right, though.
You were.
I was a favorite to be wrong there.
And this is interesting. So Joseph just takes a shot, and Batiste calls. Just calls. It's a surprising. Both these things are a little surprising to me.
The action's so fast we can't keep up. And that's a good card for Batiste.
Yeah, he sure is. He's got the second nuts, just like that. And there we go. Joseph is not slowing down.
Batiste snap calls as if he has a draw.
Joseph actually does pick up some equity, at least on the turn.
Yeah, he
The
does.
6 would be sad for him. I mean, for Batiste, really, not for him.
All right, Batiste is leading out here, which is reasonable. I think Joseph's done a good job of repping an ace here. I would
Yeah.
believe him if I were Batiste. And he clearly believes Joseph in order to make this bet, right?
Yeah. Now Joseph is going to do a little Hollywood, it looks like, and give up. Or raise. Those are the only 2 options. But it looks like he's giving up instead. He's talking about it.
Straight then. Get it on the turn, hit the gutter ball. 46.
Ace, played ace 9.
64 Apollo. What you got?
But Joseph's kind of claiming he has a 1-pair hand there, which clearly had 9 high, so that's not the case. What do you think happens if Batiste checks? Do you think Joseph's going to barrel again there on that river?
Sam, what's my
I don't
favorite
know.
hand?
I mean, Batiste looks like he has 1 pair and is holding on, right?
Right, and Joseph has complete air, complete 0 showdown value. It's a good time to go for it.
It is. I don't know if he would, because we haven't seen him do any triple barrels. But maybe that was the one.
Jake, are you going to fully big blind if I just limp?
Batiste got a big hand on this is such a beautiful thing for a player like Batiste to get a big hand on the button when nobody believes you.
Let's see if Brewer's hand is probably just a little too good to 3-bet.
Against Batiste, you can,
Look at this.
but
Jake's just
Ooh.
gonna throw it away.
that's a surprise.
You're closing the action, man.
That hand can flop pretty well.
It's 15 to win 45, and you're closing the action. Wow, that's surprising for sure. And we would have flopped open-ended as Jake. I don't know if it would have worked out.
We might have lost a bunch of money.
Oh, yeah.
As we stated before, Jake's been playing this game kind of opposite of flow.
By the way, Batiste bets small and has it this time. So sizing maybe not as obvious. He bets 20 again, which is what
Right.
his raise was to.
True.
And flop, top, top.
I think what I mean, though, in general, is it's been mostly his river bet sizing. Although there was that big hand when he had 6-7 on, and he bet a third of the pot on the flop against Brewer, who had 8-5 at the time for top pair. And
Oh, yes.
Brewer correctly raised for value there. That
Yeah.
was part of the sizing, I think, as well.
Twice you've made good fold against me today. Must be giving him something.
The third time I'm going to say you.
Well, I mean, the last time we both flopped trips, so it's like, it's a little different.
All right, Brewer's got another reasonable hand on the button here. HR with obviously calling hand with the 7-8 of diamonds. Would you ever consider 3-betting a hand like that?
I mean, I would consider it for sure, but I'd usually just going to call with it. This is a little bit of a cooler flop for everybody.
We're definitely getting some action. HR acts quickly all the time, doesn't he? He's just always putting the chips in
Most
super
of the time.
fast.
I mean, he's not doing the Hollywood that pretty much everyone else is doing. This could card get HR in a little bit of trouble.
oh, he's going to lead.
Interesting idea here. I kind of love this. He's setting the price.
That's his entire intent, right?
Has to be, right?
Setting the price.
Sometimes every time Brewer folds, it's too bad for him, but he does set the price. Problem is he does knock out some of Brewer's misses.
And it's not so bad to get Brewer to fold here.
No, it's fine.
I imagine this is going to go check on this 10 of spades here. No.
Looks like he's going to fire again. Now I don't know what's the intention.
He's repping spades somehow.
It's hard to have spades. It's hard to have 9-7.
He could have 9-7.
9-7 of clubs?
He could have any 9-7 and call the flop, I think.
I mean, he could, but it's not very likely. And what else? Did he flop a set?
Could have king 8.
Look at
6
Brewer.
8 5 8.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. I was sure he was going to find a call, but this is Brewer's day in a nutshell, right?
Yeah, he's been beaten down all day.
He keeps making the wrong fold. He's trying to make what he thinks is the right play, where HR is making this bet into him, and he's just like, well, he just has to have it. Right?
And look at that. That's not a fun day for Brewer.
Yeah.
I mean, HR is repping better than King Jack when he bets the river there. Clearly, it's a hero call.
I agree.
He bet relatively big for how HR has been sizing.
Clubs missed is all I can say. It doesn't mean it's. I mean, I don't know. Actually, the straight draw missed also, as we saw.
He could have turned 7-9. He could have turned 2 pair.
Yep.
He could have backed into a flush in some random way.
Yeah. Brewer clearly thought, and he might be right to make that fold in general, but he's been wrong a few times in this episode for sure already.
All right, Jake's not going to fold the ultimate implied odds situation here. That's good.
The ultimate implied odd situation, huh? See, now HR is making what I'm going to call a looser call here in the small blind.
Yeah, I think he's feeling good right now. He's trying to play some hands.
Joseph is cutting out a 3-bet. Wow.
I like it.
Wow, the squeeze play is on for Joseph.
I think it's perfect timing. Batista's been opening a ton. Jake is often going to 3-bet his big hands here. He's tight aggressive. And HR clearly has been splashing around.
It's a really good point. There's a lot of money in the pot just sitting there. There's $80 or I guess $65 just sitting there. And I'm sure this is going to work out really well. Look at Joseph. Look how happy he is.
I really like to see this. Joseph sees the table dynamic, what's happening, and he's going for it, you know?
That was a pretty nice play.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
That's got to be profitable in the long run against the ranges of his opponents there.
It's an interesting decision because he's got the Jack Nine of Hearts there. It's such a good calling hand.
Yeah, it is.
And he's sort of just deciding, yeah.
But if
Forget it.
somebody just calls, he also has a hand that can flop really well. So that's kind of his backup in case things don't go according to plan.
Yeah, he's going to c-bet almost all flops, and sometimes he's going to have it in places where it's going to be hard to see that.
Right.
So that's true.
And sometimes he's not going to have it, and he's going to get to win anyway.
Oh, yeah, ace-high flops, he's often going to win.
Right.
Or baby flops, really. You know, it's the king-queen Broadway-type flops that are a little tougher for him.
Yeah, I really love that spot for a 3-bet. It's great.
Yeah.
Now he's got 7 deuce, and he's considering something.
The check is probably the right move.
7 deuce, yeah. You don't have a ton of fold equity against Batiste big blind. We've seen that proven out for the entire first week of poker time.
Indeed.
I'm not gonna involuntarily put it.
If you don't get out of line.
This is just going to end, right? Batiste bet. Oh! Joseph raises.
Joseph is really feeling himself right now, huh?
He's got the 7 deuce. The graphics don't say it, but Joseph did raise to 25 and Batiste called on the flop with the 6. Joseph repping 2 pair essentially here, right?
Yep.
And I'm not sure if those graphics are right now.
No, I don't think so.
Joseph checks. Okay. Kind of a give up. Batiste bets 5. Now the pot is wrong. It says the pot is
Yeah, there's-
15, but there's,
Joseph raised to 25 on the flop.
yeah,
right?
so there's 60 in the pot.
Yeah. Here's the river. Joseph called on the turn, right?
Yeah.
He called. And now he's checking. He must be going for a check raise,
Yeah,
right?
well, you'd think so. But now Batiste has trip 6s, and he bets 40. Now, again, the pot is bigger than it says.
Yeah, add $50 to what it says there. So there's 110 in the pot now, and Joseph's, it's 40 to win that. But, of course, he would never call with 7 high.
Probably play 4 or 5 the same. 4 or 5 is what I'm saying. You have kings.
Is he really considering calling?
He can't be considering calling. Oh, because he's putting a Batiste on 4-5.
Yeah.
That must be what it is.
He's going full Stu Unger.
Come on. Not betting 40, but I guess
This would be,
7 high that one.
I mean, if he called and was right, it would be legendary, but he would be wrong.
He would be this time. No, he doesn't. He doesn't put the cape on that time.
That would have been quite the cape.
Shows the king.
Well, Joseph's happy now.
Yeah, he knows he was behind.
I'm not really sure though. So we called the turn. I
He
guess he
was genuinely putting Batiste on 4-5.
He had to have.
Yeah.
So he called the turn and was hoping it was going to go check. No, Batista's almost always going to bet his 5 high on the river, right? So we have to call with the intention of raising or calling, don't we?
Yeah, I don't think he was Hollywooding when he was considering calling on the river. I think he really thought about doing it. And part
Yeah.
of that might be the element that he knows he's on camera. He might be less likely to make that type of call in a regular game, but I don't know.
Hard to know. It's hard to know. It's the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, Grant.
Is that where they make the meth?
Here's Joseph opening the button with a reasonable hand for the first time in a while.
He makes it 15 now. The sizing's gone down for some reason.
Jake started it, and here
Looks
we
like
are.
it works. I mean,
Everyone had crap. It's
Yeah.
easy when they have crap.
I would have kind of loved to see Joseph call with a 7 deuce there. That would have been a legendary moment, even though he would have been wrong.
Call or raise, honestly.
Yeah.
Like Batiste, I mean, it's hard for Batiste to call a raise. He had trip 6s, but you'd think Batiste has an ace a lot more of the time.
Can we talk for a second about how he got check raised to 25 on the flop? Batiste, I'm talking about. Got check 2 on the turn and bet $5.
It's so interesting. So odd. It's Batiste trying to, I guess, keep control of the pot without putting really any money in. So that way on the river, he's going to get checked to a lot. You would think $5 is like, it looks like he's inducing when he bets 5, though.
Yeah.
But he wasn't, was he? He's going to have to fold if he gets check raised again, if it's big enough.
Meanwhile, HR open limped 6-3 off under the gun, and that created a cascade of limping.
We have a first family pot, I think.
What's Broadway?
We've got top pair for Batiste here, middle pair for HR. And we check around. I think Batiste probably should be betting there.
Well, Jake Dahl has just taken the lead with no kicker.
Do you agree that Batiste should be betting that flop into 4 opponents?
What's his position? He's on the button?
Yeah.
He should definitely be betting.
And now he's behind and he's calling. It's a little unlucky, obviously. It was just the 1 overcard out of
I mean,
almost all of his
he's
opponents,
playing
right?
4 other people.
Well, it's a bad river for everybody.
Expected to go check most of the time. 1.
God, I played this so terribly. 10's good. Okay. I forgot what my hand was, and then I realized I flopped top pair.
I guess Batiste agrees that he should have bet the flop.
Well, if you forget what your hand is, it's harder to bet top pair.
That's why you're allowed to look back. It's part of the game.
Dukes knew I would have made the correct decision by reading it.
True.
If you didn't have it, then
You have been right.
Look at these numbers here. Jake and Batiste, I think, are the two biggest winners in the game.
Yeah.
And how about that?
And Jake mostly a big winner from a hand he played against Batiste that was a semi-cooler hand.
But that sort of fits Jake's style, right? He's
Yeah.
playing less hands, and he's trying to like win bigger pots, and Batiste is trying to win every pot for the most part. 60% of hands. That's something.
It's fun to watch somebody try to win every pot, isn't it?
I mean, I like him to see. I really like him to try and win every pot.
Every single
Future,
pot.
Yeah.
Calvin Anderson style.
Exactly. Calvin Anderson told me about how he used to try and win 40 pots in a row and things like that. I mean, that is legit.
That's a lot of pots in a row.
Yeah. I mean, to me, 5 pots in a row sounds like almost impossible. So 40 is really changing your whole thing. All right, what's
Meanwhile,
happening
here we have an unknown hand for HR. Batiste has bluffed the flop with 8 high.
Picks up some equity.
He does pick up a little equity. HR probably has a 1-pair hand, is my guess. That turn could have made him 2-pair, though.
HR rarely has top pair also because he's usually going to bet that. We've noticed, right? We've seen him betting a lot.
I think it would have been out of flow. Batiste did raise.
Okay.
Batiste checks back, trying to realize some equity here. HR's
Another
going to check again.
I think we should bet as Batiste.
We have we're approaching the nut low here. I think it's a good time to bet.
Also, it's like HR rarely has a jack. He rarely has a 7.
Oh, he gives up.
Gives
He
up.
just
Let's
gives
see
up.
what the hand is here.
We didn't get to see it there.
Oh, wow. HR just...
there it is.
Jack 9.
Oh, wow. He rivered. I mean, Batiste is a genius, I guess, for not betting the river. How did he
Well,
avoid that?
He might be a genius for not betting the river, but he's not exactly Einstein for checking back the turn then, huh?
Yeah, I guess not.
So I don't know how many props we can really give him. But yeah, I definitely would have bet the river, but I would have bet the turn as well.
I'm surprised HR shows up with just 2 overs there. I suppose that's his way to combat Batiste, although I think probably taking aggressive actions against Batiste is probably a better choice, but he's seen Batiste open so many hands and be so involved, and he's tired of Batiste trying to run over the table, so he's going to call with his 2 overs on the flop and try to spike something sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Said it's too.
just
Said the lineup's too tough. Well, I said I'm playing. I got all these chips. You get to sit on my.
Raises it up with an ace.
What else do you need?
We've been seeing him not raise in spots like this a lot. It's good to see a raise here.
Maybe yours.
Put him in, Joseph. Put the chips in, buddy. You got position.
Now,
You're suited.
but he knows HR's rep of
Yeah.
limping a lot of hands, and
true.
he thinks the raise could mean big trouble for a hand like 10-3.
I mean,
Like, he might need 2-pair or better against HR's range there, although we know HR at ace-7.
we're in position. What's the problem? We're suited. Let's do this. I don't understand.
That should be the name of your poker book. We're in position, we're suited, let's do this.
I like that, actually. Can we get a T-shirt? Seriously, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, we're going to write that book.
This is a little too not connected enough for Jake Dahl, is my guess.
Batiste would be opening this with a plum, I believe they say.
A plum, a single solitary plum.
Yes, he would use a plum as a chip.
Joseph's going to check.
you gonna make another good laydown. Check. For what it's worth, when he folded.
All right, well, now we don't know what Batiste has. Joseph
good.
has an under-repped hand here with King 9.
I kind of like not knowing what Batiste has. It's good to sweat against him.
A number, not a.
This might not be too exciting with Joseph with nothing here.
We should probably call once for $5.
Yeah, I think we should.
We got the 9 of hearts in our hands. We have an over. We got a back. We got 2 back doors.
It's not pain. I know that.
Now we should check fold.
Probably, although Batiste can't rep much on this card. Oh, now we know he has
Yeah.
Jack 3. He has top pair here.
Oh, hey. And we're going to check, and I assume Batiste is probably going to bet for value here.
Yeah, that's a good value, but I like that.
I do, too.
He might get a call out of Joseph.
I mean, I don't think we're supposed to. 3-4 got there. Oh.
He did it.
The gut shots all got there. But it can't be that bad.
No.
It can't be that bad to call $10 there. It's not a lot.
And that's I know that's not a huge pop, but that's a great value bet by Batiste. Over time, in a cash game, like throughout your lifetime of playing cash games, it's little bets like that make a huge difference in your bottom line.
Yep.
Can't call by 10 high. Seat open. We should do $5 ante. Spice the game up.
Players want to add a $5 ante to this game.
That would significantly change the stakes.
Yeah. It'd be fun to watch.
5-5 with a 5 ante.
Oh yeah. Well then I'm in. Yeah.
I gotta believe Jake's gonna open this hand.
Yeah.
I'm recommending this.
Of course he is. There we go.
Back to 20.
Yep.
The era of 15 is over.
HR with a totally reasonable call. Joseph just trying to decide between a 3-bet and a call. The call seems very reasonable.
And Brewer with the baby connectors.
Sure, let's call him that.
That's what they are.
Let's call him that.
Little wee baby connectors.
The butt low.
Nice, dude.
It had a real piece of junk. It's not bad enough, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too good.
This is a very good flop for HR and
Wow.
a pretty good one for Jake.
Monstrous flop for HR. This is a good hand to put a lot of action in if you want.
Jake continuing here makes all the sense in the world. Thin the field, get some value.
HR calls, that's fine, but I think a raise is probably called for because when you improve your hand, everything's a scare card.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think a raise would be preferable there. I'm willing to get it in with that hand.
Exactly. You have to be, otherwise you shouldn't raise.
Well, they both make the straight here, and now HR is free rolling.
Yeah, what a deal for HR. This is another spot where you just would try and get as much money in as you can right here.
I like a check from Jake here. I think that card should scare him.
He's trying to charge the hearts, though.
Yeah, which is reasonable.
Now, we have to get a raise. This is a perfect time to raise for HR. Just in case Jake actually has the 7. He did announce raise, and here it is. Good.
Min raise here.
Like to see a little bit more, but still.
Min raise isn't so bad. It's a relatively big bet in the first place, and he's forcing Jake to call with all of his 2 pairs and sets. Whereas if you raise bigger, Jake could consider folding those hands.
Fair point. I mean, Jake can consider folding 2 pair, actually, but a set's going to have to call now.
The problem with the raise is it's a little bit transparent. I think
Yeah, that's true.
it's pretty hard for HR to have a bluff here. And
I mean,
he
you're really
doesn't have a set himself. He has a 7 or better.
you're really hoping Jake has a 7 also, and you just get it in right now, right? That's what you're hoping.
Well, you're hoping Jake loses his mind with a 2 pair or a set and you get it in right now.
Come on, Jake's never going to
No,
do
he's
that.
not. But that's what you're hoping for.
Very few players are going to do
Hope
that.
against hope sometimes, Levy.
That's hard to do. So HR misses, and we're going to end up with a chop pot here. Let's see how it plays out.
Jake might want to make sure a bet goes in on the river just in case
Yeah.
HR has some sort of weird hand.
HR's got a pot-sized bet left, so if I'm HR, I really like moving in here.
Jake is going to make sure a bet goes in on the river.
I still think he should move in.
I don't know. Jake could have 7-9. It's not crazy.
Jake's usually going to re-raise 7-9 on the turn with 2 flush draws.
That's
out there.
true. That's a good point. And HR just calls.
It's not the end of the world to just call.
In theory land, I like your idea, though, Jonathan, of moving in to try to bluff Jake off a chop.
I don't think it's going to work, though, honestly. So maybe moving in isn't so great. I mean, 7-9's always calling. A 7 is probably calling, right? A 7's going to hate it, but it's ultimately going to.
And you feel like such a dum-dum when Jake shows up with 7-9 there.
It's true. And by the way, everything else is folding anyway. A set's going to fold if you move in.
Absolutely it is.
So there's very little value. All right, fine, don't move in. When I can see the hands, though, it's a good move in.
It's so easy when you can see the hands.
Yeah. Hey, we're the poker guys. We can always see the hands. Pretty
Get
much.
one of these RFID tables to bring with me to tournament series and stuff, and
Yeah.
but only I get to see the cards.
It's a super sweet idea.
Yeah.
Walking through the raindrops again there, bud.
It's a phrase you like to say, Jonathan, walking through the raindrops. Or you say dancing between the raindrops.
That's what I say.
Batiste kind of messed it up a little bit.
One
Yes.
walks between the raindrops.
HR is going to limp under the gun again. We don't know what he has. Joseph has a beautiful hand. It's like 70% of players' favorite no-limit hold'em
Yeah,
hand.
it's the prettiest hand in poker, the Jack 10 of hearts.
Well, it's not gonna be unraised here. I'm pretty sure.
Well, big re-raise by Brewer.
It looks like 105.
Yeah, off from 20.
Yeah, there is a call.
Yeah.
Batiste has what I think his favorite hand is, so he might end up going nuts. I don't
yeah.
know.
We'll see.
Are we effectively deep enough as Joseph to call here? That's the question.
Oh, man, the effective stack is Brewer's 860. We're in position, right?
Yeah, I think it's good
I
enough.
think it's barely good enough.
Unfortunate for us, the Brewer has the king of hearts in his hand. That kills some of our equity.
Here's the other problem. We have Batiste behind us. He may call, too, and then we don't have position anymore.
That would be too bad, but you know what? We can flop, quads with Jack 10.
I mean, flopping quads is a good plan. Batiste gets rid of it.
I don't know. I think he maybe is supposed to
I
call
don't know.
there.
It's close, man. He gets to close the action.
Yeah. Obviously, offsuit is a fold.
It's okay to fold, though.
Well, we're going to get some action for sure.
Yeah. Overs, a backdoor flush draw, and the open ender. Joseph ain't going to fold anytime soon. Let's see how much Brewer decides to bet here. This is a nice flop for Brewer. He's got to like it.
With his stack, he's got to be ready to get it again no matter what. Unless he gets some crazy physical read on Joseph. Relatively big bet. I like it.
I mean, not really compared to his last. It's not. It's half pot.
True.
It's not a big bet.
I guess I misread numbers.
Well, that happens. Joseph trying to decide, I think, to call or to raise, because it can't be a fold now.
He's not folding. We know that. What would you do, Jonathan?
That's a good question. We only have. He only has 2x the pot. I think a move in is the right play.
I think it is too, and that's
You
what
hope
he
he
does.
has ace king.
Brewer does not look happy about that. Obviously, sets in 8-9 are in Joseph's range, but Brewer does make the call. He knows he has to.
Yeah, and he's ahead. He's fine.
Oh, 5 of hearts on the turn there.
Well, a little extra equity,
Oh.
and it comes in.
Now you said that.
That's the face of a sad sighing man.
You said that earlier hand was the epitome of how Brewer had been running. I feel like.
Do you mean the epitome?
No, I wanted to say epitome.
Yeah, that's how it looks. The word is pronounced epitome.
I know, but epitome is also a word.
Okay, let's continue. We'll
right.
argue about words later. Go on.
It's a similar word. It's in the same family.
Okay.
We'll talk about that later.
Great.
I think that was just indicative of how Brewer ran all day right there. I mean, he got it in as a pretty significant favorite.
64%.
Yeah, and just didn't work out, and he's gonna get up from the table.
Yeah, he looks like he's done.
It was more about just trying to get you to fold the overs. I didn't want to call and stack sizes over.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable to try and fold out a bunch of the equity of the
Right.
overcards.
Brewer could have ace king or ace queen easily there, and he's gonna have to fold those hands.
Yeah. And you do have reasonable equity. If he was significantly deeper, I think we just call it Joseph.
Sorry, you don't hit runner, runner, heart?
The way this hand ran out, though, Joseph was always going to get all the money no matter what.
Absolutely.
Like, on the turn, a heart's coming, he's never going to fold. And if they make it to the river, Brewer can never put him on a heart.
And he can never fold because of the stack to pot ratio by that point.
Yeah.
We're gonna be four-handed for a bit, but we will be getting a new player soon. Coming to Brewer's seat.
Yep. And you're going to like this player. I'll tell you right now. I'm expecting this guy to be a fan favorite.
He's action.
He is. Action Aaron, that's what we can call him.
Yeah, that's his new name.
Yeah.
If it pained me to fold and then I popped the pair, I'm like, it's probably good. Oh, Jakey, you call?
Nobody likes this flop.
We're gonna bet 25.
He's going to c-bet.
He's got a bet. He's the original raiser. It's gonna work.
So the board is better for his range, and he's just hoping it ends it. It does. And he shows it.
I don't know what he's trying to show. Because Jake's not folding any piece of that board, so I don't know. He did fold a better hand though.
But he's like showing his cards.
He does.
Aaron, you want to play?
There you go. That's Action Aaron. He was coming in the game anyway, but they're making it happen.
This is a monster four-handed, especially for Batiste.
Stack. That's annoying. Oh well, it's fine.
Remember that time when 15 was the open that people were doing? Now it's 20.
Didn't last too long.
15 more, Joseph.
Oh, it's not going to be 15.
No?
That's what it's not going to be.
You fold?
Gotta trade your seats and I'll make it 75. Look at that.
Oh, the 10-4. You're in bad shape.
I think they're losing their minds a little bit here. I don't know what's going on.
Well, they're four-handed, and everyone's a winner, I think, at the table right now, yeah?
I think so.
Maybe not HR. HR's probably breaking about. No,
HR's
up.
significantly up, in
Yeah.
fact.
Jake's got Batiste's money. Joseph has Robbie's money. Batiste has Rob and Crazy Danny's money. And I guess HR has a little bit of everyone's money.
Yeah.
I think that he knows.
All right.
I can see why Joseph might go a little nuts after hours and hours of Batiste on your left in a short-handed game.
Also, he just went runner flush to win a monster pot.
Yeah, so he's feeling a little good, a little giddy.
It's just chirping chips he picked up, I think.
HR bumping it up to 25. It's going to get Batiste to fold the jack deuce off. And
I don't mind this. I kind of like sizing it up against Batiste's big blind.
I absolutely like it because Batiste is going to call maybe too much anyway, and then we get more value, especially if we choose a bit of a tighter range.
Either of their names were A.A. Rock. That's who they want.
Just waiting for Aaron to sit down here. I think he's going to come in for the next hand.
Action Aaron.
Action Aaron. You guys are going to see that It's not going to say Action Aaron on under his cards, but you're going to see he's earned that name.
This guy is legit.
Playing 5-5.
5-5. Yeah.
They're just explaining to Aaron where he's to put his cards so they can be picked up by the RFID table. That's pretty exciting technology, Grant.
Yeah, it is. And you guys all get to see that Portland Meadows opened in 1946.
Well, actually, you don't know when it was opened. That just says a 19 and a 46.
That's
I don't know
true. That
anything
could just
about
be
anything.
somebody's favorite numbers.
I love the number 19 and 46.
Yeah.
You know what else I love? Horseshoes.
I mean, people think they're lucky for some reason.
Really?
And then the hollers.
You're 5. Oh, wait.
HR definitely going to be playing this hand. He does unorthodox things, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a limp.
But mostly he's going to raise. I'd expect a big raise. Let's see.
No, he's not.
At least 25. That's my guess.
I'm in the big one.
He might go 30.
You want me to tell you what my cards are?
Just trying to work out exactly what's going on with Aaron here.
Yeah. It is a raise. Looks like a smaller one,
It
actually.
looks like 15 or 20 to me, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait up. 20 Troy called.
Oh.
Looks like
Jake raised.
Jake raised under the gun, and HR just called with the ace-king. That's interesting.
Aaron, how come you
Huh.
haven't been invited to this game?
And Aaron with a beautiful hand to start the session.
I would be excited to see these hands play out.
Well, luckily for you, here we go.
Here we go.
That's a
HR
Big flop
slams
for
it.
HR.
See if Jake continues. I'd expect him to. I guess he could have 2 queens or something and check, but
He just checks.
I'm the only one that
Nope, he hasn't checked yet. I lied to you.
Yeah, just as long as we read him correctly.
He bets 40, and HR is going to raise.
that is going to kill this. Oh, well, we don't know what Jake has, I guess, but I expect Jake is folding. Yep, most of the time. He could have 2 diamonds and call. He could have ace. Could have the same hand or another big ace and call.
I don't hate the raise, considering that Jake does have ace-10, ace-jack, ace-queen in his range that he will strongly consider calling with.
I don't hate it either. At the same point, there's not too much to be afraid of as HR. There's, 2 diamonds on the board, I guess, but they're all babies. It's unlikely anyone's going to, make a straight or anything if a weird card comes off, except a diamond. Diamonds aren't going to fold anyway for this raise. I don't know. I think it's fine just to call, but it's okay to raise too. It's okay.
But you prefer to play the hand as a call there.
I do. What do you think?
I think I prefer that as well, but considering the amount of aces in Jake's range, we do get a lot more value some of the time by raising.
Does he call when we raise is the other question I have. It's Jake. Jake's pretty tight.
Oh, Aaron's got queens here.
HR had limped originally.
Batiste
he's
called the
already let
button.
it go.
He folds. I assume Batiste is going to be calling here.
He does, as he really should be. They're deep. And
Not the flop Aaron was looking for, and he's going to quickly check. I think I might prefer a bet there, even
How
though
come?
the king flopped. I think we can get called by a lot of hands that are worse than ours still. I think that's the main
Yeah.
reason.
that's fair. But, we can get called by a lot of hands that are worse than ours on the turn, too.
Not Batiste, though. Those guys play that hand like lightning. It was a fastly played hand. The epitome of speed.
That's like a soul read right there.
Yeah, right.
Is this the middle session or is this the last?
Who knows?
We know.
They don't know.
Okay, just was curious.
I don't care.
I would care if I were stuck, but
Well, let's get you started.
I mean, I'm.
Let's get you stuck.
Well, I mean, caring is sharing. You know?
Maybe 1946 was just the best financial year for Portland Meadows. They opened in 1943.
Maybe the 2 people who opened it, one guy's name was Portland, the other guy's name was Meadows, and they were age 19 and 46, respectively.
I didn't think about that, but that's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Batiste open limps the ace-6 offsuit. That is a strange play.
Wow. Aaron quickly raises it up to 20 on the button.
Jake, of course, has to call with his hand. He could consider 3-betting. I think Aaron is known by these guys as kind of a loose cannon type of guy.
Action Aaron for sure. The
Yeah.
problem for Jake is even if he 3-bets, he's getting called. He's going to be out of position with 2 sevens. Rarely is he going to love the flop.
Aaron's got Batiste's favorite hand, we see here.
I would expect him to fire away, and so he does.
And I think it's going to work.
I don't know how Jake's supposed to call here with Batiste behind him. Just got to let it go.
I'm curious to see if Aaron acts so quickly when he really has a big hand.
New boss in town, Baptiste.
And is he going to show it? You know he wants to.
No, I'm on
There it is.
Oh, he's showing it.
Rush it.
He's got 2 back doors. The 3 of clubs is the key card in the hand, Jonathan.
So it's interesting, though. So when Aaron had queens on the king high board, he checks. When he's got when he raises and then bets with and it has 4 high, he bets, right? So this is the kind of thing you'll see a lot. If he's gonna be opening a lot of hands and he's betting a lot, he's just gonna have a lot of air in there, right? If he's gonna check back a lot of his more medium showdownable hands. Or
See,
check a lot.
I don't know if it's a good idea for Aaron to show, knowing how Aaron plays.
Maybe it doesn't matter.
Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe they already all know.
But that's another reason for him to bet his queens for sure. If he's gonna be betting 4 high.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get value from your marginal hands
Yeah.
if you're going to be that guy.
I assume people aren't gonna fold to him very often, especially on the flop. Normally.
This is a relatively loose open as far as Jake's range is concerned on the button.
Come on. All right, these are going to be 2 calls most of the time, unless Joseph decides to stick in a 3-bet. He doesn't.
His 3-betting days have come and gone. He was in 3-bet mode for a while.
Gone the way of the dodo.
HR gets to flop best here.
But doesn't have a whole lot.
No,
See if
it's-
Jake. I expect Jake to check this. This is the kind of board that hits everybody.
I would check here. It's a
Me
bad
too.
board.
Me too. And a great turn.
It's a great turn. I think I would check again if I were Jake.
I don't know. There's 8s and 9s make it tough to play. I think it's fine to. Also, there's a lot of gut shots that can come in that are going to be tough. I think
Right,
it's fine
and
to bet.
somebody could have checked a 10 or a jack twice and just be thinking, okay, you're supposed to bet the ace because you're
Yeah.
the pre-flop raiser. You don't have an ace all the time. So yeah, there is value to be had.
And, like, we get value now, and then we can check back the river if we get called, which I think we're mostly going to have to do because they would probably play an ace just like this. A
Yeah.
better ace.
I agree.
Ace 9. If Joseph has ace 9, he's probably going to play it exactly like this, right? I guess he could bet the turn himself, but he might check to Jake.
Ace 9 is kind of a monster on the turn there. You got the...
I mean, you have a gut shot.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Jake checked the flop, so he often has a big ace in his hand, right?
He does.
So
He-
I would expect Joseph to check to him a lot.
Aaron, with something worse than 4 deuce, will fold.
Action Aaron. Maybe we have to rename him.
Anti-action Aaron.
Oh, that's good. That's going somewhere
Triple
else.
alliteration.
And that's the thing. That's just alliteration.
I think Walt Whitman invented it.
Walt Whitman. You
Yeah.
know what that is.
It's an alliteration name.
Completely honest.
Come to poker time for the poker. Stay for the English lit.
Yep. Next week we will be reading some Jane Austen.
That show, so you think
Everyone, it's Pride and Prejudice, so make sure you read it too so you can get all the jokes. Joseph flops open ender and overs.
Batiste just
top
checks
pair.
back the top pair. Now he's got
Wow.
trips.
What happens? How do you just always make trips?
And Joseph's going to bet. That's reasonable.
course
Batiste
it is.
just with the call. Could consider raising. The dynamic between these guys is kind of like a powder keg ready to go off.
Wow, and look at this. Joseph with a
He checks.
slick check.
Why is he checking? I don't know if I like that.
He's trying to induce from, I guess, hearts? I don't know.
He's going to raise it. This is a dangerous raise. If he gets 3-bet, it's not great. But
But
Batiste is
instead-
going to call.
He has the greatest bluff catcher in the world there, essentially.
Yeah. He's going to call against most players, but I think specifically the dynamic between these two guys, especially blind versus blind, is getting to the point where something big could happen soon.
I agree. I mean, we saw the whole 7 deuce hand with
Yeah.
Joseph even. And then this, just look at Batiste's face. I mean, Batiste, he flopped an open ender and 2 overs. He's never folding it at any point. He's always going to get value
I
from
think
you.
he's just upset that he lost the hand. He doesn't like losing this Batiste. He's a
Yeah.
competitive guy.
He does not
hands
like
are
this.
good. Doppelganger or not?
A
little bit. No.
It's
No.
close. I mean,
Nothing.
I think if you put
Nothing.
that,
Oh,
no,
Nothing.
because the face.
Is that him saying that guy looks like you?
He is saying that. I don't think it's accurate, honestly. But
John and I think you're a little older than that guy.
No, but if you put the hair on him, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
Jake is not playing this hand. HR, I thought he was just going to limp that for a second there. I wouldn't be 100% surprised.
Joseph's got a hand.
20 or 25 there. It's like 20. Batiste can't call with that. Aaron's still learning the RFID thing, so we don't know what his cards are.
Put it in the box there.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Ooh. Joseph
Fun
flops
flop.
the nuts. Aaron flops top pair.
That's right.
Aaron's going to lose some money on this flop. Almost
Looks like
certainly.
Joseph already bet 20. He's bet really fast. Aaron raised.
No, that's an unusual play. But okay, he's got top pair.
He's protecting against a lot of
Yeah.
stuff here.
It's not the end of the world. Joseph's just going to flat with the nuts.
That's
Pretty
it.
reasonable. Joseph's loving life.
What a happy time to be Joseph right now.
And the
Another
2 of clubs,
club.
That's
Huh.
too bad for Joseph. He may get. I mean, Aaron may.
Aaron checks
Aaron's
again.
getting Up. Aaron's like, well, what did he call me with, right? I mean, he called.
And Joseph's going to bet. He's got to try to build a pot. Ooh, Aaron's reaching.
What? He's
raising. You know what?
Action Aaron
I
is
don't
back.
hate this. I don't hate this. Imagine he had the ace of clubs in his hand for a second.
Okay.
And it's completely normal to check raise the flop with the ace of clubs in your hand.
Yeah.
And then he checks the turn when he gets there, and he's trying to make sure he confuses Joseph and gets max value somehow.
How do you get max value when you check raise and you have the ace of clubs in your
Okay,
hand?
this part is tough. but
Okay.
but he could, as played, he could have the ace of clubs.
Joseph,
and
of course, with the 3-bet.
Joseph 3-bets, huh?
As played, he could have the ace of clubs until he check raises, and then it's like, well, what can call me when I do this?
Well, maybe he didn't think that far.
Yeah, the problem is the king of clubs knows it's only bluff catching now, right? It's not like the king of clubs has a snap call when you check raise the turn.
I don't know if I like Joseph's 3-bet, by the way.
No. Well, that all the problems we just said with Aaron's check raise are even more so with Joseph's 3-bet, right?
I guess he thinks Aaron, by reputation, is just ready to go nuts with any flush there, perhaps. Maybe that's what Joseph is hoping for?
Well, let's give him a chance to go nuts by flatting then and
Yeah.
let him go nuts, because now it's harder.
With the nuts like Joseph has there, it's really hard for your opponent to have a hand that they consider calling a 3-bet with. The king high flush is probably going to fold. Most players are, at least.
I mean, maybe Joseph knows that Action Aaron is the kind of guy who will get it in with the king high flush there, and if that's so, then this is probably a reasonable play.
Yes.
But otherwise, you may have just burned like $300.
Yeah.
You know, like a big bet could have been coming from Aaron on the river. Like if you just call, he might shove the river. He just might.
He might. Aaron choosing some pretty small sizing out of the small blind when there's already a couple of limps. HR likes limping under the gun.
He's got the queen and the 6.
He does. Batiste got in there with the jack 5 of hearts, and now that's the problem with playing queen 6 right there.
Well, it is until you smack a 6 on the turn, buddy.
I'll bet you he doesn't get there. You want to bet?
I mean,
5 poker guys points.
all right.
That's a new
you're on.
currency we're creating.
You're
It's like Bitcoin.
It's like Ethereum, except it's PGP.
That's what I say, and then people just suck out.
All right, 5 poker guys points. Let's go 6.
I can't imagine.
$60 was bet on the flop, and wow.
I can't imagine Aaron getting any more value here at this point.
Well, I don't think he's going to bet, right? That's a
No,
good check.
The 8 is definitely all over HR's range. So
HR probably thinks he has the best hand, and it's not unreasonable.
Well,
Look at
the
Aaron.
deuce-
Aaron hates that pairing. He's like, now what am I supposed to be able to beat? I can beat a queen exactly. You should be able to bet for value here, though, as Aaron.
a bet fold.
Yeah, because a deuce is probably just going to call.
Oh,
Look at that.
HR quickly calls.
Yeah, and loses.
Part of that might be Aaron's reputation getting him paid off.
Part of it. I mean, honestly, what's Aaron supposed to have when he takes this line? I mean,
I would definitely play Aaron's hand the way Aaron played it.
me too. But Aaron is the crazy guy, right?
Yeah.
So you have to. I think you have to call the flop, and I think you have to call the river against him. I think that's not crazy. We just saw him check raise.
I think
fold
that, yeah,
the
I
turn
think the mistake was limping pre-flop with queen 6 offsuit.
and calling the raise.
Yeah.
And from Aaron's point of view, I like that he bet the river because better hands, all the better hands are going to bet anyway. So
Yeah.
we're going to have to pay that off anyway. So let's get value from worse hands,
These are good points.
especially with our reputation. So that was a nice play by Aaron. Aaron just had like a real hand, flopped well, and played the hand, like a guy.
Or a woman.
Right.
Any sort of poker
Any
player.
kind of asexual
Any poker
being.
player.
All asexual beings.
Plants.
I mean, if there was a player who played poker, perhaps. Or maybe there is.
Venus flytraps. Those things, they're almost human.
But essentially, they're essentially people. All right, here we go. Back to the action. Batiste with the ace 10 in the cutoff, and Aaron calling with the ace 4 spades. Makes sense.
Batiste flops okay. He does have the backdoor nut flush try to go with his gut shot.
It's reasonable-ish.
Horrible flop for Aaron.
Let's see if Aaron just throws it away, because that's normally what people would do here on this board.
Would you like to call 30, sir?
No,
You gonna raise it?
maybe. It's one or the other.
Usually when they talk like this, they fold.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Monster go, but
Letting the monster go, says Aaron.
Jack no good. Well, I put you on 9-10. I got like almost zero. I'm 0 outs.
You put him on 9-10.
He's lying. Aaron said he asked Batiste if ace jack was any good, claiming he folded ace jack before he said that.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's better. I didn't believe when he said he put him on 9-10 anyway, obviously.
Batiste did have the 9-10 blocker, so that's close.
It helps a little. I mean, the 8-7, they're connected.
Here's the guy we know.
All Aaron throws it away. Jake clearly going to fold.
HR called, I believe, and Joseph's going to call with a very easy call with a 5-3 suited.
Yeah.
Joseph and Batiste both have a lot of money in front of them. They could play a big pot at some point here.
Yeah. Well, a 6 would be an interesting card if it comes off. It makes Batiste the nuts, and Joseph has a pair and an open-ender.
Joseph is going to lead.
Interesting. I would expect Batiste is probably going to call this once, right?
He's reaching for the green ones.
Ooh.
Oh, that looks like a call. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought we had a raise.
Oh, no, it was. It's Joseph bet 40 and Batiste raised. You're right.
He doesn't think Joseph is going to donk all that often with a strong hand, and he's right. This time, anyway.
I mean, Joseph, to have a strong hand, has to have a set of 4s, a set of 5s, or 4-5, really, right?
He could have Jack 4, Jack 5 suited. He was in the big blind and called. But that's his range. And you'd expect usually you'd let Batiste take a shot there, and then Batiste shows it to him.
That's a nice play by Batiste.
Yeah.
I think Joseph probably didn't think through that donk quite well enough as far as the board texture is concerned.
I mean, he probably thought, by betting there, Batiste is usually going to have to fold, which I think Batiste is probably going to do if he doesn't have any equity. And with HR behind Batiste, too, right? And so he's going to get a lot of information, but this is the problem with that play.
Yeah, when you donk middle pair, you kind of end up in some bad spots sometimes against good players and aggressive players like Batiste.
I mean, what are you supposed to do as Joseph? You're supposed to call and just close your eyes and call on the turn and river? That does not sound like a good plan.
I think
That's
it
why
plays
you should
better. It plays better as a check and kind of figure it out.
I agree. Hope to improve, or hope he shuts down.
Aaron's limped under the gun here with an unknown hand.
And here's a real hand.
Batiste has a known hand.
By the way, Joseph had a nice little hand in the small blind, decided just to check instead of raise. So he's going to... What? He just threw away the queen 10?
Yeah, after Aaron called. That was...
Wow.
I think Joseph kind of feels the flow of the game and plays accordingly. That seems to be what he does.
Already in for a nickel, and I only have the 12.
Great flop for Batiste.
And he checks it. Goes check, check.
Checks it again. He's giving Aaron as much rope as he can give him. Nothing to worry about.
Gotta bet now, right?
If Aaron calls quickly, Batiste is going to mourn the misvalue, but instead... It's a quick fold. I'm told by our producer it was the Jack Deuce of diamonds. Sorry, of spades. Of spades. I misspoke. Jack Deuce of spades.
That's not a good
call there.
Not a good hand.
Interesting, he never took a shot at it. Batiste was really trying to give him a chance to take a shot with a hand just like that.
Yeah, so he was calling to hit with the Jack Deuce of spades, which is probably not the right thing to do in that spot.
Well, maybe on that board against Batiste, he sort of sensed that Batiste was.
He was
just not
right.
folding.
Batiste was trying to let him take a shot. I don't think Batiste was going to fold at any point to any aggressive action.
Yeah, I wonder if he checked the river if Aaron would have finally taken a shot.
Maybe.
Might have felt forced to.
Maybe, but Batiste just couldn't hold on any longer, and I understand that.
Me too.
Got a battle of garbage hands here. But with these two guys, who knows what happens? Aaron's got the 6-high flush draw. Batiste got bottom pair. Aaron's going to bet it. Snap call. Cameraman can't keep up with the snap call. It's a good card for Aaron. Picks up a little equity.
Yep. Straight and flush draw. Batiste not interested in folding. Clearly putting Aaron on a flush draw. What else could it be? And the flush comes in.
It's not a good flush.
Probably doesn't matter unless Batiste basically is giving up when the ace of hearts comes in, right? And he checks. He could turn his hand into a bluff. That'd be the only other move.
I don't think it would have worked against Aaron's specific hand here.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it would or not. I mean, Batiste has a lot of hearts himself. The way
He does.
Played it, right?
He does, but I'm just not sure if Aaron's interested in folding the 6-high flush there.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. If you're calling raises with Jack Deuce suited, like you probably call a lot when you have the 6-high flush.
Yeah.
Because you're here to play. And he is action Aaron.
It's a tricky table to play against here for the other three players, with Batiste and Aaron both able to show up with kind of any two cards at any time.
Yeah. Aaron more so even than Batiste.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. And you've got super tight Jake on Aaron's left.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting combo.
HR under the gun limps another bad hand. That must just be a thing he likes doing, just limping everything under the gun.
Yeah. Aaron with quick raise. The real hand. Jake's just got to be sitting there like, eventually I'm going to pick something up. I'm going to flop well, and I'm going to make a lot of money.
You see, though, and HR's just going to fold it.
Yeah.
But Jake switched to the backwards hat. Maybe he's trying to dress opposite his image. He's trying to say, hey, I'm the guy who raises all the time. I got the backwards hat.
It's tough, in episode 1, if you want to go back and watch it, if you recall, viewers, Batiste was going on and on about how tight Jake was. So only Aaron missed that, and it's very possible Aaron just knows.
And that
all
says
about it.
Aaron's down $4,000. That's not true. That's because he took Robert Brewer's seat there, and so it added that all together.
Wow, that was a big loss for Robert Brewer.
Yeah.
In a 5-5 game, that's a lot. It's a bunch of
He
buy-ins.
ended up losing about $3,000.
I think more.
Yeah, maybe.
He was down 2.8K before he lost his last pot.
Yeah.
And that was a big pot. I'd say he's down 3.5.
Remarkably found another $20 hand.
We got Jake dollars in there.
Jake is in the pot
$12.
of threes again. He's
Probably
had this
means
hand
that
before.
We need to, suck out somewhere along the
We're definitely behind Aaron.
line. Way behind.
And Aaron outflops the world.
Aaron with a nice little check.
I don't know if he's going to get any value. Maybe now. Joseph does pick up, or it's Batiste, excuse me, who picks up the 8. And Aaron's going to raise.
It's a min bet and a baby raise. Aaron's getting value.
Batiste does some weird small sizing stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I imagine this is going to go check, or check small bet.
I think Aaron's going to bet tiny. Jesus. Really studying. Aaron's reaching, and he does look like he's cutting out a bet here.
It's not tiny either. It looks like 60 or 70 at least. Oh, it's 50.
50. What is Batiste going to do?
This is usually a fold.
He got raised on the turn, a big bet on the river. Well, not big, actually, half pot. This is not the part of Aaron's range you'd expect him to have here after he raises the turn.
Oh, he really doesn't want to fold.
What can he beat? He can beat clubs. He can beat Jack 9.
He can be, yeah, that's actually a fair amount of hands.
Can't beat 9-7. Can't beat aces up. Can't beat one ace that's playing it like this either. Action Aaron getting action, not just receiving it. Getting.
I don't think
That's actually the same
Batiste
thing.
expected Aaron to raise the turn with a one pair, top pair hand.
Especially a weak kicker. Exactly.
However, Batiste did size it at the minimum level, which makes it a lot more likely that the raising range is going to expand there.
Agreed. It's possible also against Aaron specifically. He might just raise with anything because he's like, forget it, man. Like, you bet 5. I'm going to make it tougher on you.
Yeah.
And then he bets 50 on the river. So maybe Batiste is forced to call there. I don't know. Obviously, against regular opponents.
Against Jake, he's folding. I know that.
Yeah, he's probably folding the turn, honestly, against Jake. Maybe he calls to try and improve. Batiste with almost the same hand as last time.
Oh, and then Jake's finally got it. He's finally got the big hand.
Jake is going to put in a big bet here. Right?
It's pretty big. Looks like 105.
Looks like 80.
Oh, 80. I don't know. I might have liked 105 better against these two guys.
Let's see. I think Aaron's going to find a call here. He's just not interested in throwing hands away, and this is, for him, a pretty good hand.
He's here to play poker.
Yeah. He's action Aaron. You know, Carl Weathers played action Jackson, but this guy.
If we can get Carl Weathers in this game, that'd be cool.
It would be cool. He was great on Arrested Development.
I think he could make some cool noises. He's the guy who makes the noises, right?
Is he going to be in the next Creed movie as the ghost of Apollo Creed?
Yes.
Here's the call from Aaron. Not surprising, even though he's out of position. It's not a great spot, but let's see. He can flop top pair. He can flop a straight draw.
He's got live diamonds.
Well, he's going to need them.
I think Jake's probably going to win this pot most of the time.
Against Aaron's range, it just feels like such a slam dunk bet here on the flop.
Against most players' ranges, except
Agreed.
for the tightest of the tight who only show up with pairs and ace king themselves here.
Yeah, in a 5-handed poker game, this is just a bet.
Bets 100 there, it looks like.
Jake's thinking, please just fold. Just let it go.
You can just see in the body language that Aaron doesn't really care how bad he flops. He hates giving up a hand.
Yeah.
Hates it.
He's got to be thinking, he can't be thinking about calling, right? He's got to be thinking about raising or folding here. And so that means he's considering raising. He's not going to. But
You see how much that pained him, though.
I like that he's at least thinking about it.
Right. No, it's good not to just make snap decisions all the time, for sure.
Yeah, and even a guy as tight as Jake Dahl, who's successful, very successful, but definitely has a tighter range than everybody else at the table. That would have worked. You check. You just click it back. He's gonna fold right away. Right?
Yeah.
He's just gonna hate his life and fold.
But that would have been kind of lucky, right? Because Jake has a
Yes.
lot of overpairs that he's not folding.
I mean, Jake's got what, ace queen, ace king, and then all the overpairs,
Yeah.
pretty much.
I'm setting mine in with jacks.
Aaron taking a page out of HR's book, limping under the gun.
With the 3 deuce.
Jake doll hands.
See, I wonder, HR has 10 deuce off there. I wonder if he would have limped it under the gun, whereas he folded it on the button. Because we've seen him limp hands like that under the gun.
Not 10 deuce, though. Queen 6.
Queen 6, yeah.
I mean, one Doyle Brunson won the world title with twice and one didn't.
Was suited, at least. Well, that king and that queen is going to kill all the action here.
Unless Aaron decides to try and win the pot.
Batiste might bet here. Mostly for protection, a little bit to get value from a 7.
There he goes with the $5 bet. And it's all he needs.
But it's not as absurd as some of the other ones he's done. He bet 5 into 85 or something like that.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah, because
blind versus blind battle
he
against
chose
Joseph.
not to raise the 9s here. It's
Yeah.
a little interesting, too. It's unusual.
Yeah, you think with Aaron at the table having already limped, you want to get some value out of your 9s. I know there are a lot of bad flops for 9s, but
I think you're supposed to raise.
we just got to
for
try to
sure.
get some value from a guy who's going to be calling with so much frequency, with so many hands.
Yeah. Although you do protect your check back range once in a while by
You do.
checking a hand like that.
You do.
But that said, I don't know if we need to protect it very much. Like, is everyone really thinking about that so much? I don't know.
Raise 15.
Joseph going back down to 15. Is it 15 time again?
Well, Aaron's not folding.
He's raising.
Gotta love this guy's heart.
Yeah.
He's got 2 hearts in his hand, but he's got a huge one in his chest.
And look at this. Batiste just snap calls with a terrible hand against a 3-bet, but he knows Aaron.
I mean, it's so cool how things change when everything's player dependent in this game.
Well, Batiste flops the nut blocker and the gut shot.
And by nut blocker, you of course mean the nut flush blocker.
Yeah, he's got the ace of clubs. If the clubs come in, he can rep the nuts.
Yep. So he's got an immediate nut draw, an overcard.
Ooh, that's a big bet from Aaron.
Yeah, he's betting almost pot.
And look at this, Batiste. He knows his guy.
He calls with ace high. Oh man, is Batiste gonna station him all the way if this bricks out? That
Is
would be
Aaron going to keep
incredible.
going here? I mean, Batiste has a lot of 2 pairs on this board.
Batiste checks again.
250.
Aaron's reaching.
Oh, he's reaching.
Oh, and this just like no problem. Like it's the easiest thing in
250.
the world to bet $250 into this guy.
He bet quickly. I wonder if he would bet with the same speed if he had a set of jacks here, set of queens.
We won't know. and
It's going to
Batiste-
work.
It's so much. I mean, basically, he's saying I might be getting it all in. Look at the look.
He knows. He's going to show. He can't help it. Got to show that one.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, it's got to hurt Batiste.
I would have liked to see the 8 of clubs on the turn in the same action and see what happens there.
Batiste might just move in.
Yeah.
Although they're both pretty deep. They both have like 1.5. Oh, Aaron has what 1.4K in front of him at that point. I think. So.
Remember that powder keg I talked about between Batiste and Joseph earlier?
Yeah.
I think it's been transferred to Batiste and Aaron, and I think it's a little bigger now. Added a little more gunpowder in there. Joseph's shirt sure is stripy.
People are suddenly limping. This has suddenly become a limping game. That's really
It's
surprising.
weird how that works, you know?
Yeah, it's just a contagious thing. Like Batiste limped the A6 off. HR's been limping. Aaron started limping. People limp now. There's a nice flop for Jake.
It's a beautiful flop for Jake.
Looks like Aaron just decides to bet bottom pair, no kicker, 4 ways.
He's got to
From-
get. He's a crazy guy. He's
with
got to
the
get
worst
value
position.
from bottom pair.
Let's see if Joseph HR folds the best hand. So right now, Aaron has the best hand. That bet worked to perfection so far. Perfection.
I mean, he doesn't have the best equity.
No, and now he doesn't have the best hand either. But it's pretty good to get the better hand out and charge the flush
That's
draw.
nice, but that's obviously a horrible card for Aaron. And Jake does have a lot of flushes in his range.
Yeah.
I like
Expect
betting
Aaron-
here. I like betting here. We've got to build a pot, protect against more flush cards coming.
The only thing we can beat is 4-5, and so it's a good fold there for Aaron.
Pretty easy fold.
Yeah. That's clearly a bad card. I mean, we might be check folding the turn even if no spade comes.
We might
honestly.
be.
Which is then makes the whole question of is that bet on the flop as good as I was saying?
Yeah.
But
You know, you were stretching a bit. It happens.
I mean, he's action Aaron. I gotta defend that
Do
guy.
a little analysis yoga, if
Ooh,
you
I
will.
like that. Little poker chiropractic. behavior?
Yes.
Is that what they say?
Yes, poker chiropractic
I'm
behavior.
pretty sure that Doug Polk coined that, I think.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that's going to be a new series from the poker guys.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Coming next week.
Got a Jake doll.
Pull the doll.
Another limped pot.
It's a free $5.
We are coming to the end of our session. Maybe these guys are just tiring out.
Yep. It's been a long session over the full 3 episodes of Poker Time. These guys played them all in a row.
Yep.
I can't believe I'm getting talked into this again.
Jake raises. And Batiste calls. Look at this.
Just unbelievable.
What is Batiste calling for? Because he knows he's got him out kicked. That's why.
I think it's because he's putting Jake on a 5 somehow. How could he do that? Jake checks again. Batiste just checks it right back.
Jake just gave up on his plan there, I guess.
I think the plan was raise and hope it works, and if it doesn't, the end. If I don't improve. Oh, no. Wow. Oh.
Essentially a cooler, right, Jonathan?
It's only a $45 pot, so it's not a huge deal, but wow.
Snaps me and I just crumble like a. Ugh. That one hurt.
Him? No, I'm never calling him with king high.
Just did.
Just on the flop.
Just on the flop.
That is embarrassing.
You gotta fire 2 bullets, buddy.
Ugh.
Usually you just keep firing.
I mean, Joseph just said you got to keep telling the story. He gave you the narrative.
Another limp. I guess this is who we are now.
This is the new world.
This is our lives now.
We've just discovered the Americas, and it's all limping from east to west coast.
This is how we live.
I thought we were tying at first. I usually only slow roll when it's a tie, and then I realized that I won, and it got better.
Batiste limped under the gun with ace-6 off.
Yeah, that's a bad play.
Yeah, that's not recommended.
Yeah. And he's just going to check it, which
Check
I like.
through.
I like checking.
Well, it's a double gutter now for HR, but he's on his phone. Does he know he's got a double
And
gutter?
the 6 high flush draw, which is good, in fact.
Batiste just checked, so we're going to get a free shot at it as HR.
Nope.
Even if he got there, he's going to get no value.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Joseph's taking a shot.
Batiste is certainly going to call right away.
Easy, quick call. I don't mind the shot by Joseph.
No, not at all. I think it was the right play to do that. It just didn't work. Batiste was laying a very small trap to get very small prey.
Yes.
By the time he did, he got a $10 bet on the
Caught
river.
like a half a mosquito. Going back to that Jake raise with the king 6 there, it's
Yeah.
interesting to see Jake take kind of his first shot of the whole session and just kind of give up on it right away.
Yeah, especially when he's called by the guy who's sort of most likely to call you with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe his fear is just that Batiste is just not interested in folding a lot.
Right.
And so he thinks he's going to get stationed all the way down.
Yeah, he took a shot. He lost a tiny pot, whatever. He's a big winner in the game.
Yeah, it's fine. But that said, Batiste is only going to ultimately call 3 barrels with a jack in his hand, right? Jack
Yeah.
plus. He's not going to call with a 5 or 2 7s because it's the same thing as a 5 ultimately.
Here we've got nobody flopping anything. That said, there is a mental dynamic here. Aaron's just going to win with aggression here.
A
it looks
mental
like.
dynamic, not just a dynamic. I like this.
No, a mental dynamic. Near the end of a session, these guys know the session is ending soon.
Right.
And for Jake, he can just lock up a pretty healthy win here. And he took a little shot there, but that drive home sucks so much when you had a win and near the end of the session you did something you don't normally do and lost a monster pot, and
Yeah.
he just doesn't want that feeling.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be a monster, but Jake's up however much he's up, $1,000 or whatever it is, and to give away, let's say if he took 2 shots here and Batiste just stationed him with a mediocre jack or 2 7s or whatever he did. Yeah, you're driving home. You're like, I had $400 more in my pocket if I just played normal. What was I doing? It was so dumb. We've all been there.
Yep, absolutely. I've had some bad drives in my life.
Yeah. And just apparently no one raises anymore.
No, it's
pre-flop.
just limpy, limpy, limpy. Everybody's trying to lock up the win.
This is
'cause
the action table. It's what this is called, an action table. I just mentioned.
We're going to talk to these guys.
There's the raise. Aaron raised it up to 25. There you go. Action, Aaron.
Aaron's invited back. The rest of you, I don't know.
HR with the call.
Reasonable.
And a
Whoops.
set.
Well,
Aaron's
going to continue to bet. You
got to let this guy keep firing, HR. Just go slow. That's it. Yeah, just a call. There you go. Let him keep firing. Aaron's very likely to just fire 3 barrels at this, right?
I think he's a big candidate to do that, yes. Like that card might slow the action down a little bit. I mean, a lot of 2 pairs come in.
Not that many.
Straights come in.
I mean, what 2 pairs come in?
I mean,
3
they're not-
deuce, 4 deuce,
None of
7,
them
4.
are reasonable
Come on.
hands, but you've seen the hands HR's been limping under the gun.
Yeah.
He's in the cutoff this time.
But I mean, you just wouldn't be. If you're HR, you're not worried about it, and if you're Aaron, you don't really care.
Oh, this is.
He's gonna bring out a little bit of a bigger shot here.
Is there such thing as music for eyes? This is music to HR's eyes.
I don't think there is.
Yeah, there is. Have you ever read a sheet of music? Wow, Jonathan. That was a trick question.
Actually, a really good point. He bets 90. Okay, now I can understand why HR would consider raising here. I got to tell you, that's got to be what he's deciding.
Oh,
between.
Aaron could have 2 kings here, and I don't think he's going to fold.
He also could have clubs. He could have an ace, now a 5. Like, you want to charge him for some of these different things. And it's Aaron. If he has anything, he's probably going to call anyway.
Yeah.
The board's getting a little bit wetter. There's a lot of action-killing cards on the river that either beat you or you hate, and he can rep. It's not
HR is
crazy.
going to raise, and
This is reasonable.
It's not insane.
And Aaron, of course,
Quickly
is gonna
gives it up.
snap muck.
Shows it, too.
Aaron may be the kind of guy where you just have to close your eyes and just call and let him fire on the river anyway.
I love having Aaron in this game. He's great action.
Yeah, he is. This is awesome.
He's a really fun player to watch. Batiste the dynamic between him and Batiste. The Batiste between him and Dynamic is what I was going to say.
The mental dynamic
Yeah.
between Batiste and Dynamic.
Yeah. You know, it's been a long session for us, too, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I didn't.
We do this all in one take, people.
Nice hand.
Sounds like they're saying 2 more hands.
And because of that, everybody's folding out of turn, I guess. Oh, HR has called. Never mind.
Right.
Jake's going to... It's a slightly surprising raise from Jake, although I think it's the right play.
I mean, against HR's limping range and Aaron in the small blind,
Yeah.
you're just
Jake
throwing away
clearly
money.
knows what he's doing.
Yeah, you'd just be throwing away money here. We don't know what HR has. It doesn't matter. This is clearly the right play. This is how you make money. You make this raise.
It's the only way.
It's the only way. And now use continuation bet and hope you get called once or twice.
You could also check.
You could, but HR is probably going to call you with the king. He folds right away.
King again, huh?
HR is also the kind of guy who's rarely going to bluff, I think, if we...
Jake trying to show off how loose he is by showing the 10 there. I
mean,
don't think it's going to work, buddy.
when that's the worst card you could turn over, and you can't turn them both over to show like 10-9. Come on, Jake.
You could just use
A
it for
10.
gold. You just run the biggest bluff on everybody.
All right, the final hand of the first week of Poker Time.
It's been fun, Jonathan.
It has.
I've
It
really
has.
enjoyed doing this, and of course we'll be back next week with 3 more episodes, fresh off the presses.
Yep, we'll have some different players in the game as well.
No, in general.
Batiste will be coming back.
He's got the ace-jack of hearts here, and he's going to raise it up, as he should. Aaron has a real hand as well, and Jake has a real hand.
Well, look at this. We got action on
See,
the last
when
hand.
you raise pre-flop, sometimes they call, and we get a real pot, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Wow.
Holy moly.
It could really get all in here between Aaron and Batiste.
By the way, Jake has a double gutter. Like, holy macaroni. This should be a huge pot. This can be a huge pot.
Looks like we can see HR's cards
HR
there.
has the 9 deuce off. Aaron's going to just call. That was the
Oh,
determining
man.
factor. Jake could, if he wanted to, he could put in a raise here, but a call is more standard for sure.
Yeah. He's got 6
only
clean
40
outs.
bucks.
6 clean outs.
It's only $40. He should just call for sure.
I am surprised not to see Aaron raise there. Well, that's not the card that the action demanded.
Batiste.
He's going to keep betting.
Yep. He's got so much equity in this pot.
He
And
could get some queens to fold. That's an advantage of this bet as well.
yeah, Aaron calls quickly. Batiste can't love that.
Yeah, now he's got to put Aaron on a queen a lot of the time.
Now, what do you do if you're Jake? You're getting 4-1 on a call almost. Your ace might be good.
This pot is getting big. I think we have to call here.
A king. I mean, we know we have six clean ones for sure, and maybe the king of hearts and the 9 of hearts are good for us too. Maybe.
If Batiste has a set, we have great implied odds.
Bricks out though.
Well, that's just a little bit of a shame, isn't it?
Let's see if anyone takes a shot at this. Otherwise, Batiste is just going to win. I'm assuming Batiste is going to check now when the 8 pairs.
I mean,
It's
at
all
least
over Aaron's
usually, at least one of his opponents has a queen. Batiste is going to be surprised to win this hand if it checks through.
If it checks through. He has checked. Aaron could really take a shot when this 8 pairs. A big bet might work.
Oh, you saw him break there mentally, though, and he
Yeah.
started laughing.
It's the last hand.
Batiste,
He's waiting to see.
he's like, wait, is it for real? It is. Did it, Batiste.
Oh, I would have been in so much trouble.
Wow. Look at that. Look at that.
I was in horrendous shape.
Aaron,
Any heart comes off, Aaron probably loses it all.
Aaron raises on the flop. He could lose it all if Batiste decides
yeah.
to put in another bet.
I would have raised it on the flop
Yeah,
for sure.
me too.
Trying to get it in and happy to take it down with king high. And I would have lost it all for sure. So Aaron really does a great job. He only cost himself $150 post flop.
And as the players rack up here, just want to say thanks for watching, and we will see you guys next week.